Hi everyone, my name is Destiny Doynes and this is my individual diversity presentation. I was born April 2nd, 1998 and I am currently 20 years old. This is my family genogram. As you can see right here, these are my siblings, my mother and I, and then this is another picture of my mother and I, my nephews, my grandmother, my cousin, my aunt and uncle on my paternal side, my uncle on my maternal side, my older brother, my sister-in-law, my niece, and I added this picture because my stepfather was in this picture, but this is also my brothers, my mother and I, and then this is a picture of all of us together. This is my student diversity profile. As you can see, it's pretty diverse. Um, I in my environment, I mainly work around females, as you can see, but overall, everything is pretty much diverse. These are my scores that I tallied up from my multi-ethnic identity measure. I'm assuming that my scores are pretty low based off my answers. I answered everything in a pretty low number because I don't know much about my ethnicity, but I do plan on learning more. I think that my ethnicity is pretty normalized, such as, Americanized, and I think it's just something that's not really different than everybody else's. But I mean, down the line, there's probably a lot to learn about it. But according to Finney, I have an unexamined ethnic identity because I haven't put a lot of effort into learning about my roots. And so, according to my age, Erickson's stages of Eric, excuse me, according to my age, for Erickson's stages of development, I'm said to be in the intimacy versus isolation stage, which I completely agree with because I have a problem, like not an issue problem, but maybe like an issue or a hard time with developing relationships with friendships of the same sex as me. I usually have a hard time like opening up to women more because just women are really different, and it's just been kind of hard for me to make friends the past couple years. So this is definitely something that I believe that I'm in the stage of. And while reading Finney's stages of development in the book, I came to the conclusion that I don't know much about it because while I was reading, unexamined ethnic identity was something that really stood out to me because I'm like, that's what I am. Because all the other ones did not go with how I felt about my ethnicity because I don't know much about it. So this is something that I definitely will agree on. According to the book, Marcia proposed four identity statuses which reflect the ways in which a late adolescent might deal with identity development. With that being said, I would consider myself to be in the identity achievement because I am able to pursue decisions for myself. Now that I'm a little bit older and I've experienced things, I feel like my parents kind of just let me make my own decisions, and they either agree with me or disagree with me, but at the end of the day, they let me pursue those decisions. And I feel like I'm able to just be free and I'm able to do things on my own. For my religion and spiritual, spirituality, I would consider myself leaving stage three and entering stage four because stage three is considered to be in like the adolescent stage, which is like whenever your parents are telling you like what you should and what you cannot do. And it was like that for me growing up. I was always told to go to church every Sunday, every Wednesday. And now that I'm used to it, or now that I'm older, I'm sorry, I'm used to it. So like not going to church on a Sunday or Wednesday, like it doesn't feel right. And that's why I believe I'm going I'm entering stage 4 because I'm able to make that decision on myself. Now that I'm working and I'm going to school, my mom gives me the option to either go or not. She doesn't force me to go like she did when I was younger. And I also take full personal responsibility for my faith. So I do believe that I'm pretty much in stage 4 of based off the Fowler stage of development. So I have two ethnic origins. On my paternal side, I am African American, or my dad is African American, and my great grandmother actually has Native American descent. Um, my family on this side is very spread out. I meet, every holiday or every time we get together, I always meet an aunt or an uncle, and I'm just like, how did I not know about you? And I'm this old, so I try to make sure I keep up with that. Also, too, soul food plays a major role on the side of my family. Um, my grandma loves. It's like cooking is what she does, and that's something that we all value within that side of my family. As for my maternal side, my mother was born in Mexico, but she was raised here in America. She moved here when she was about 9 years old. Um, Spanish is something that most of my family can speak. I can speak it as well. On this side of my family, we're pretty much all bilingual. And Mexican food is definitely something that is valued on this side of my family. Menudo and tamales are something that we eat every year around Christmas or when it's cold outside. And it's just, every time it's cold, I just think about the food that we're going to eat because it's just better whenever it's cold outside. When I'm asked about my race, I usually just say that I'm black and Mexican. So I put this here because I typed in biracial on Google and this came up, and I completely agree with this because I have a hard time like answering this question. I know it might like look so simple, but this is something that I definitely struggle with when I'm having to answer it because I value both of my ethnicities, and I don't want to feel like one's less than the other. Like I don't want to have to choose whenever I strongly, I love who I am, and I love my family, and I love that I'm mixed, and that's why sometimes answering this question is a little hard. So I usually just put other because I don't want to pick just one. But usually if I have to pick one, I usually just pick black because I know you're supposed to go with whatever your father is. And I thought this was really interesting because I typed in biracial facts on Google, and it was saying that 2.1% of the population is multiracial. And honestly, I figured that the multiracial number was bigger because growing up, there really wasn't one solid like black person in my school. Everyone was either mixed with white, Mexican, Asian, or something, and that's why that number really stood out to me because I thought that was really low. I consider myself a heterosexual female. I've been in a relationship with Jalen for 3 years, and we recently got engaged. So yes, overall, I'm physically healthy, but whenever I was in grade school, I had a mild case of dyslexia. I remember going into another reading class. I would have to go through multiple reading classes throughout the day, and other teachers would work with me to get my reading into the same level as the other children around me. Um, and I thought this fact was really interesting that 15 to 20% of the population has a reading disability because it's just like you never know who has that and who doesn't. And I was one of them, but it has gotten so much better. And working high blood pressure is something that runs in the family. My great grandmother, my great grandfather, and my grandmother all had or have high blood pressure. The high blood pressure has caused strokes within my great grandmother, And it's something that I didn't even know until I asked my grandmother about the other day. And so learning these facts about my family is something that's really interesting. So I do appreciate this project for that because I'm actually digging a little bit deeper. I believe that this will influence my practice and my identity as a social work professional because by being aware of myself, I can it will allow me to help others learn who they are and to better themselves and understand themselves. But it has to start with me because I have to know how to do it in order to show and in order to help grow. And that's something that I feel like is very vital in the social work practice.